Yo, what is up, everybody online? How are you doing? Feels like it has been forever since I've been here with y'all. I'm gonna check something real quick on here. Yeah, okay, so I'm running everything right now. As you can see, I got my keyboard, got the mouse, the monitor's over here. So when I'm looking over here, it's because I'm probably looking at your chat or whatever. Got a microphone, got the whole shebang, got the camera. Um, Today's special. I'm going to be by myself today, and going forward, at least by myself might be the wrong word, without Ellis going forward, because student activity has resumed here at the Powhatan campus. Right now, which is where I do this from actually, right now there are students here. I'm telling you, I walked into the atrium, and so if you're not familiar with our Powhatan campus, we have the big room where we meet on a Sunday, and then the common area right before it, we call the atrium. And so I was in the big room getting some stuff ready for students to come tonight, and I walked into the atrium, there were students there. And I had this like small out-of-body experience as I was like, wow. Students are back. I was so hype. I was so hype for that. Yeah, so it's going to be me for a little bit, for a while. Right now, it's literally just me. So I'm kind of low-key recording a video for YouTube, I guess, because it's just me chilling here right now. But I want to let you know of some things that are coming up. In fact, I wish I could just show you, but there's no... yeah, there's no good way to do it on the screen. So I want to tell you, because as I just mentioned, student activity is resumed. So because it's resumed, there are a lot of things going on, and I want to get you the information you need. So at our Powhatan campus, where most of you who would watch this probably attend, we are starting tonight, as you know, and every week we're going to be meeting from here on out. Now, the catch is this: on every other week, like tonight and then 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to do more of like just a chill, hang out, play games, be together again kind of thing, because we know that you've missed your friends. I mean, I've missed y'all like crazy, and I've missed my own personal friends. So we're not any different. And I've heard from several of you in our Discord app, here in the chat on YouTube, when we've done other small groups, that you miss your friends. So we're trying to just give you a space to where you can hang out with no real agenda other than hanging out. That's happening 5 o'clock to 6:30. So they're already a good 30 minutes in here. So yeah, that's going to be every other week starting tonight. So the weeks in between, so for example, next weekend, 7 days from today, we're doing events, which will have more structure. So, for example, next weekend, we're doing a movie night here at the Powhatan and out in the parking lot. We're going to have a big projector screen set up, and we're going to do a movie night where you bring your own chair. We'll probably have some snacks for you, like prepackaged. We'll have made it fresh, but we'll put popcorn in a package so you can have it. Probably some drinks, maybe some cans, and I don't know, some bottles, some dew. You know what I mean? And then we're gonna have a movie night, hang out, watch a movie together. That'll be in the parking lot. So every other week we'll do something like that. So the first one is a movie night. 2 weeks from that, we're actually doing the Student Olympics. One other thing, I guess, that COVID claimed was the Olympic Games. It's here. But we're going to hold them in their place. So we're going to do a Olympic event where you and your friends are going to be able to form a nation and compete in various events around the campus. We'll have a medal ceremony. It's going to be sweet. And then the rest of the schedule is actually online. Here on YouTube, there's a video that stars Ellis that's called Summer 2020 Calendar, I think it's called. And it says Powhatan Campus. all of the info's in there in a much more concise way than I just said it. So go check it out. If you go to our Midlow campus, the same video exists here on YouTube. Summer 2020 calendar, Midlothian campus. Lindsay, of course, is in that one. And they've already actually had 2 of their events in that video. They last week, they met at her house for a cookout just to get back together, which was awesome. Heard a ton of people came out to that. A lot of her group. So shout out Midlothian students. We know that you want to see each other. And then just a couple days ago, Friday, they had a pool party at Dean Francis's house, who's a guy who goes to our Midlothian campus. So that, I'm sure, was awesome. I wasn't able to be there, but I'm sure it was great. More events like that are to come. The one other event I want to highlight, because this pertains to everybody. If you're watching right now, literally whenever you're watching, I don't even mean live. I have one person here, which is sweet. Hello, whoever you are. Thanks for being here. But if you're watching this after the fact, on August the 15th, I'm going to just triple check that because I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah, August 15th, we're doing a church-wide float trip. We do this float trip every year. We go to the Powhatan State Park, and we go off from there, float down the James, and we stay within the park limits the whole time. We launch from their A site and go to their C site, and depending on weather or how hot it's going to be, we might go A to B or B to C instead. It kind of depends on weather conditions, but we're going to float the James within the Powhatan State Park, and it's going to be awesome. We do this every year. It's really fun. That event is $10 just to provide snacks at the end for the use of the floats and all of that. But, and it also pays for getting into the park. So, yeah, so you'll want to make sure that you're there for that. It doesn't matter what campus you go to. If you don't go to a campus at all, more info on that is in both of those videos that I referenced, actually, and on our website. So, boom, check it out. Check it out. Check it out. You'll want to be there because it's going to be awesome. Yeah, as far as this online experience goes, I want to make sure that we still have an option for those of you who aren't ready to come back yet. Now, while we can all agree that probably everyone wants to see their friends, of course, not everyone wants to go out and put themselves maybe in the way or potentially in the way of COVID-19. It's still very real, and it's still out there. So we respect that 100%. And nobody ever at PCC is going to make you feel bad for not coming if that's something that you're concerned about. So that's why I'm still here. That's why I'm still here and not chilling, playing games out there with them, because I want to make sure that you have an option to still hear from God, to still be a part of student ministry here at PCC. And let me move this out the way. And then, yeah, so you can still have an experience for yourself because, I mean, it's important. I know it's important to you or else you wouldn't be here. It's important to me and that you're still included, even if you don't want to come back. I will say, the only thing I'll say about that is that if COVID isn't actually a concern of yours, maybe that's just your prerogative and your family is okay and, you know, y'all are allowing yourselves to venture out, but you're not here because you got out of the habit because, I mean, it all had to be canceled. It all had to be shut down. I would ask that you would give it a shot, to come back. Again, this is if you are going places, just not here because of getting out of the habit. I would ask that you would please make an effort to come back at any campus. Our other campuses, our Farmville campus, our Riverside campus, our Amelia campus, and even our newest campus, A-Lit, will be starting up in the fall. So just full disclosure, because, you know, we're here. It's you and me. We're chilling. It's awesome. Our Midlothian and Powhatan campus have student coordinators who are staff. So that's why they're able to open a little earlier, because the people who run it, Ellis and Lindsay, like it's their actual job to do it. Obviously, they love to be here, and they wouldn't have taken the job if not. But we want them to reinitiate, and we have some incredible volunteer student coordinators at our other campuses who have other jobs and other concerns that they're worried about in the middle of COVID. So we are not putting any pressure on them to make a return before they're ready. So that's kind of why some campuses are open and some aren't. But by the fall, all the campuses will be open. So keep an eye out for more info on that for sure. Right here on YouTube, on our website, pccwire.net, and everywhere else. So one note about this online format, or the note I was getting to earlier, is we're going to reduce the time that we're here to probably 15 to 30 minutes. Because over time, we've seen that the hour-long format of this small group is, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about how you feel about this, but most everyone I've talked to, and myself personally, we just have some internet fatigue. Everything that we've had to do, that we used to get to do in person, has now moved to the internet, whether that's going to school or in a lot of cases our jobs where it's applicable. Even like our entertainment. Now I know we used to, and have for a long time gotten our entertainment on places like YouTube and Netflix and stuff like that, but now even the big movie companies are releasing their movies on streaming services. So even if you wanted to go out and go to the movies and see one, you can't really. And so every single piece of our lives has moved, until recently, has moved online. So being online so much is just not good for the soul. It's not good. It's really tiring. It's really fatiguing. And we've noticed that just by living it, but also via the viewership online across the board, not just here on our channel, but on everyone's channel. Any student ministry I talk to, other ministry leader, or even our big room services, all of it have taken a decline. Not because people are less excited about God, or not because people don't want to be a part of that community. It's just being on the internet so much takes a toll on you. And it's just the truth. So with that in mind, we want to still offer this, but we don't want to help also feed into the fatigue and make you feel bad somehow for not watching or not being a part of it. So we're going to reduce this to like a 15-minute to 30-minute deal, somewhere in that area. We're not really going to have a structure other than we're not going to go past 30 minutes. And we're just going to, like we're doing here at the Powhatan campus on our Hangout nights, just do short Devo times to chat and talk. And, for the three of you that are here, thank you for being here. We'll just talk a little bit about stuff that I feel like God's talking to me about, and we'll go from there. To that end, I think that what I was saying is a decent segue for that. The need for community. Now, I think, students, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure, my observation has been that particularly Generation Z, and even my generation, millennials, when we were a little younger, had the perception from pretty much the rest of society that all we ever wanted to do was be online. Thanks for having this online so my son can still feel like he's a part of things. You are welcome. That's the whole point. So thank you for being here. Thanks for being a part of this. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm getting ready to talk about right now, actually. The need for community. I think that and it's not any fault of the generations that are before us, Gen X or any of those. This isn't a slight at them, because as generations go on, this is just how it naturally happens. The perception of us has been, though, that we only ever want to be online. Like, if we would be totally content if we never had to see anybody else. We just want to play our video games in our corner, or binge Netflix under our blankets, or or whatever. Like, that's all we ever want to do. And if we never had to go outside or play in the woods or anything like that, we just wouldn't. That's been the perception for a while. But I think what COVID has taught us is we're just not wired that way. We're just not wired that way. We long for community. Even if it's a small, really small community. I don't mean we need to be in large crowds of thousands of people. I mean, we at least need one other person. At the very minimum, one other person to be with in person for real. That's not necessarily, somebody that we're always with, like our families. Even though, of course, that is awesome, and I personally love being with my family. I still need like really close confidants, really close friends who I need to be around, at least every so often. I was actually having a conversation with Tanner Iglio, who you've seen on this channel. He's a leader here at Powhatan, and he gets brought up a lot because he's a really close friend of mine. And we were having a conversation the other day about just our friendships through our lifetimes. So when I was in elementary school, way back in the 90s, I had a friend who I was at his house every single weekend. Like, you would always find me at his house every weekend, faithfully, just all the time. And we would do whatever, play games. We played Magic the Gathering, the card game. We played, we played outside. He had a trampoline. He had an above ground pool, so we would swim. We'd play on the trampoline, like just do all sorts of stuff, whatever it was. We were just together, and it was only ever him and I. Like, we were just that close. We hung out all elementary school like that, pretty much until I got into middle school, or maybe late elementary school, like 5th grade or something. And then at the church I used to go to before I came to PCC, when I was in middle school, I had a similar friend, a different guy, of course, but somebody who I really connected with there. And we spent every single weekend together. Because we went to church, it was so easy to be like, well, I'm just going to his house after church, or he's just going to my house after church. I usually ended up at his house because our church was in Chesterfield, and he lived in Chesterfield. So it was kind of pointless for us to go to church in Chesterfield, drive out to Powhatan, and then drive all the way back into Chesterfield. Which, by the way, if you're from Chesterfield, I've heard this a lot lately. I know that you feel like driving out to Powhatan is a huge deal, but it's really not that far away. And we're growing up. We're not Midlothian yet. We're not Chesterfield yet. And you know what? If you ask a lot of people from Powhatan, if we ever wanted to be that, they would say no. However, we're growing up. We've got stuff. Just come on out. Come on out. It's a great place. Powhatan's a great place. It's great country. It's got some great views. You just need to, you know what? You just need to get over that it's too far to drive out. We welcome you here. That's my Powhatan pitch. But anyway, so we would hang out all the time, me and this guy. And it was the same thing. It was just almost always me and him, pretty much exclusively. And we would play Super Smash Brothers Melee at his house like all the time. Same thing. He was into lacrosse, so we were throwing the lacrosse ball around outside his house. We would watch like old comedies, and binge like TV shows before Netflix. When you had to get them on the DVD. In some cases, we had stuff on VHS that we were watching, and so I needed that community as well. And then in high school, I had another friend who was the same thing. And I don't need to go through it all again, but it was exactly the same thing. House every weekend, playing games, chilling all the time. And then when I got in college, my roommate, we roomed together for 4 years straight, even though we didn't know each other before college. And then from college to this day, Tanner is that guy. Now, I'm married now, and I have a kid, and he's married, and, we have our own houses. And so the staying over every weekend doesn't really happen anymore. But we're just in the adult version of that same thing. We talk all the time. We hang out whenever we can. My point is we're just bred. We were made, created for community. Again, even if in my case, it's a small community. I have like 5 friends that I talk to regularly at this point. Now, I love everybody, and I try and be nice to everybody. And, everything like that. But if you caught the message this morning from Angie, which was awesome, by the way, you'll know that you can only really have but a certain amount of really close friends. And that's what I have, and that's what I've always longed for and tried to get from somebody. My point is I think COVID has revealed to us that we were just made for community. We were made to be in relationship with other people. And I don't mean a romantic relationship. I just mean friendships. And that's not a secret. In Hebrews chapter 10, it says, continue to meet together. The writer of Hebrews urges us to remember always to meet together. And so thousands of years ago, they knew that they needed to be in community. But I think it can get lost when we do get sucked into things like Netflix and YouTube and whatever else you do online or do at your house or whatever. Now, don't hear me say all that and say you need to come back to church because if you're not, you're missing community. I don't mean that. If you're here right now, as far as I'm concerned, this is community. Yeah, we can't see each other in person, and I do think that's probably the ideal way to do it. But, again, COVID is still real, and people are still getting sick. And we don't want to put anybody at risk of that. So we're going to do what we can in the meantime until a vaccine is found or we figure out a way to control it or, figure out the best way to just distance enough to where it's not a threat. Nobody really knows exactly how that's going to go down. But my point is when it is over, when COVID is a thing of our past or it's a thing that we've got to live with from now on. Again, we just don't know. I hope that you will take inventory of who your community is, of who those people closest to you are, and make an intentional effort to invest in them and let them invest in you. Because we absolutely need it. And going forward, it's going to be more important than ever because we now see the value of it. And maybe you're at home and you're like, well, it's really only been 4 months since I've been at home, and I don't so much mind. And if that's you, then that's okay. You're allowed to feel any way you want. But I do think the longer it goes on and the longer that you don't have that community, you will yearn for it. You'll want it bad. So my hope is that you have somebody like that or a few people like that you can confide in, that you can be your actual real self with, as Angie said this morning, because it's extremely important. We all need it, not only because we want to help others in need, we want to help those who need it, those people closest to us, but because we need that same thing. And we need people who we can be ourselves with at all times, who we can bounce hard questions off of, who we can wrestle with life's hard topics with, who we can just make jokes with. Whatever it is, we need it. And I hope that you see that, and I hope that you know it. And if at any point you're ready to come back here and be a part of this physical community, we welcome you. But again, in the meantime, I'll be here with you. Maybe a couple special guests will come in here with us, and it'll be great. So as long as you're at home, invite your friends to this because they need community too. Even if they don't go to church, they need this community in particular. Because, call me biased, but I think we have something really special, the most special thing to talk about. God and Jesus and his plan for us and his love for us. That's the community you get here, and a genuine one that is much needed. So anyway, y'all, that's going to be it. Like I said, we're going to do 15 to 30 minutes, and we're sitting squarely at about 25. So that's going to be it. Whenever you want to come, you can come. Just show up. Just show up and come. It'll be great. But again, there's no pressure. I'm fine being here with you. I really enjoy it. I could talk to this camera about Jesus without it being on. Like, I could turn around and talk to this wall about Jesus for hours, and I'd be cool. So, you know, if you're not ready, come here. I'll be here talking about Jesus, talking about life, and I think we'll have a good time. But I want to pray for you before we leave, and pray that you would invest in that community and that you would continue to live into finding it and being a vibrant part of it. So let's pray together. God, thank you for today. Thank you for technology. Even if we are a little fatigued from the internet, even if the ideal scenario is to be in person with other people, even if it's just a few, God, we're grateful that in the meantime, or when we have the technology to still meet here on the internet. God, thank you for each person in the chat right now or each person watching later. Thank you that you are our God and that no sickness, no division, no lockdown, no nothing can separate us from you. Lord, we honor you for that. We thank you for that, God. Would you be glorified by all that we do? And Lord, would we do our best to seek community, whether online, in the meantime, or in person, even with just one or two people, God, that we can be our real selves with, Lord. I pray that we would find that and we would live in it, because that's how you designed us to be. We thank you, God, and we love you. It's in your name. Amen. Hey, y'all, be sure to check out those videos on YouTube. The summer 2020 calendar for Midlow and Powhatan. Go ahead and go to our website, get registered for these events. You're not going to want to miss them. They're going to be great. And so make sure you do that. In the meantime, though, if you're chilling at home, we're going to be chilling together. I'll see you again next Sunday, same time, 5:30, right here on YouTube. Till then, have a great week. I'll see you later.